In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. That's right. We got another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix, and I got a hot topic tonight. Hot. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the exit plan and when to fold them. Woo! Yeah, it's a great topic. But before we get started, I got to tell you something. Sometimes I lay awake at night and I think about, maybe random things. I was wondering, where in the hell do hamsters come from? Has anybody out there ever seen a hamster in the wild? In the wild, raise your hand. Because I haven't. So I looked this up. You know where they come from? Syria. Yeah, the Middle East, Syria. And when I was doing research or just reading something, they even some are native to Greece, Russia, China, and Central Asia. And the first domesticated hamster was a Syrian hamster, first captured and bred in captivity in the 1930s. But that's rough living in the Middle East, especially today. Woo! So anyway, random thoughts by Bryce. So things that keep me awake at night. So let's get to this topic about the exit plan. The reason I'm talking about this is because I'm at this point in my life where, frankly, I'm just burned the hell out. Done. D-O-N-E. Burned out with everything. Burned out with clients, burned out with the court system, burned out with judges, burned out with opposing counsel. I'm just fried. I'm just fried some days. And there are days I don't want to answer my phone. I don't want to talk to anybody. I dream of being like on Gilligan's Island, shipwrecked on an island with Ginger and Marianne. And I'm just done, D-O-N-E. So I got to, sit down looking at, all my finances and all my holdings and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you really don't need a whole hell of a lot in life to just be done. You got to plan it. You got to be smart. You can't be stupid about it. But I was like, when you really think about it, you really don't need much. When I look and sit at my house I go into, what do I really use? Maybe the living room, the bedroom, the bathroom. That's about it. That's it. And a vehicle with air conditioning and heating. Other than that, what do we really use on a daily basis? Because you could have a 3,100 square foot home, but how much square footage are you actually really going to use every day? You know what's going to turn into be? Clutter. And so your life, in the same sense, becomes clutter when you fill up all the rooms, especially treadmill machines. When your spouses are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to use a treadmill machine. You know what they do? They hang their clothes and towels over it. That's all it's ever used for. I know I'm digressing a little bit, but it's kind of funny. So, this exit plan thing, you law students and young lawyers, you got to think about this. Because there's going to come a time in your life when you're just going to hate what you're doing. You are. You can say all the time, no, I won't hate. Yes, you will. You'll be tired of it. You'll be done with it. You'll be burned out with it. Some people will sit there and go, I have a passion for this. I'm passionate for this. And the reality is, most people are not. There are a few people that after doing something 30, 40, maybe 50 years, that they still have a passion for doing it. And they want an exit plan. They may want to do something else, maybe not fully retired, sit around and be a couch potato, binging Netflix, or some series or something like that. They have to remain active. You have to remain active, or you'll turn into a big couch potato, dry up and die. So this begs this question, when do you get out? When do you say D-O-N-E, done, and goodbye, adios, arrivederci, sayonara, a Wiedersehen? When do you say that? And what is the triggering event that's going to cause you to do that? Because during my life, there were times when, I got divorced, or I split up from my former law partner, and I was like, man, I'm done. I just don't want to deal with you anymore. I'm just done with this crap. I'm just done. D-O-N-E, capital D, with an exclamation point, done. And you do. But there's some major triggering event in your life that is going to cause you to go over the edge and be like, yeah, I'm unassing the hacienda. I'm out of here. I'm just out. O-U-T, capital O, then U, then T, then exclamation point. So, but you got a plan. So what is the exit plan for you young law students and you young lawyers, or maybe you lawyers that own a firm, whether it's a solo practice or not? At some point, you're just going to want to back off of this stuff. You're going to want to back off, and you got to know when to fold them. I mean, if you want to work to the very day you die and go into a courtroom and have a stroke or heart attack, spit up on yourself, and then fall over dead on a table, hey, more power to you. But for old Ish here, no, nine yet, not happening. Not happening. I did not intend to live my last day in a courtroom, spitting up on myself, frustrated, my arms flailing like a penguin. I'm not going to do it. Wait, penguins don't have arms, do they? They have little flippers. You know what I mean? So I'm not doing that crap. So you got to think about this, in your escape of the legal matrix, because the legal matrix pulls you in. It kind of just like suffocates you. It doesn't want to let you go. It clings on like herpes. It just won't go away until you take something to make it go away. So I want you to think about that. For some of you, just getting out of law school, you're probably about 25, maybe 25, 30, depending if you waited a little bit of time after undergrad. And so let's put you 30 years down the road, maybe 55. That's still relatively young by today's standards. It really is. So the question is, 30 years of practicing law, are you going to be fed up with it? Are you going to want to do something else? And if you do, what's your exit plan? And when do you fold them? And so I see a lot of times some of my colleagues, they're like in their 70s or 80s, and they're older than me, but they've been doing this for like almost 60 years. And I don't know what they're hanging out for. I get you want to be busy and you want to be relevant and exercise your mind, but you can do that in other ways. You can do other things, but some of them just can't let go. Now, me, I'm going to tell you something. Oh, I can let go. You bet your six I can. I own a law firm. I'm the, I lead it, but sometimes I get tired of it. And sometimes I just want to sit on the end of a dock down at the ocean. I just want to stare at the dolphins and talk to them. That's what I want to do. I just wave to them, let them wave a little flippers back at me and toast a beer and or something to them, and just listen to some good music and just not have to do or be anywhere in any particular place and just do whatever the hell I want to do. So you got to get to that point where you got to know when to fold them, because sometimes you got to ask yourself, what am I hanging on to? What am I hanging on to? What's my future? To be frustrated? And there's no shame in basically saying, I'm done, I'm burned out, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, there's no shame in that at all. You do something long enough for decades, you're going to get tired of it. Most people I know do. They may have loved it in the beginning or for a little bit of time, but after a while, some things just they're boring. They're just burn you out. Kind of like marriage. And why a lot of you are divorced. Or maybe your ex-spouse divorced you because you were boring. So I don't know. Everybody's got their own personal story. But for me, my story, I've been doing this for a long time. And here I am looking at, hey, what's another phase of my life that I can do? Because you just get to the point like, man, I just want to, here's my hand. I'm going to cash in my chips and I'm going to go. And you all sit around the poker table and play poker and you risk and gamble and do whatever the hell you want to do. But old Ish here, I'm heading down to the coast or I'm doing something else. I'm just like, it's time to fold and go. And that's what you do. Now, you don't want to be stupid about it. You got to be smart and you got to plan it. But it's something you got to think about. You still got to go back to this basic form we talked about from the very beginning of these podcasts. What do you want in body, being, balance, and business? Because once you know what you want, then everything else is irrelevant because it doesn't matter what you don't want. You only want what you want. And what you want is all you're going to go for and where you're going to apply your time and your resources. And so for me, that's what I'm looking at right now. This is why, like in our firm, we're looking at, should we bring in our lawyers? I'm going to phase out. What's that going to look like? Pay-wise, money-wise, asset-wise. What is my life going to look like? And you all right now, you law students and young lawyers, you need to think about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't live. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you need to project out 30 years. Do you want to be done? And do you want to do something else? Because I'm telling you, I assure you, the majority of you do something for 30 straight years, you're going to get worn down. You're going to get tired. You really are. You're 25, but the difference between 25 and 55, it's a big difference. Now, there are some people that are in really good shape at 55, look really good shape, have all their teeth, all their hair. Most of them have most of their toes, I guess. Okay. So, and some of them are in really great shape and they look good. Now, on the other hand, there are some other folks, boy, they may need to go to Faces R Us and get all puttied up because they look decrepit and they're just not aging well because they let the legal matrix just drive them into the ground and they didn't know when to fold them and they didn't have an exit plan. I see that too. To me, there's nothing worse than having an exit plan. And I'm not talking about going out in a coffin, okay, or a body bag at all. I'm talking about voluntarily planning and just saying, you know what? I'm not going to let my ego, I'm not going to let my pride get in the way. It's just done. And again, that's happened in my life with relationships. It was like, I can't take anymore. I can't take this person, these people, and this organization. They're driving me crazy. My head's exploding. I want to cut my wrist with a pencil eraser. I want to go get some Billy Butt beer from the 70s when President Carter's brother, redneck brother, was making this crappy beer and basically made a fortune on it because he was the president's brother. It was the worst tasting damn beer you ever have. I didn't really like beer back then anyway. When I was a teenager, I just really didn't have a forte for it. But it's just an example that I'm using here. So again, where are you? Where are you in your world where you're like, you know what? It's just time to have the exit plan and to fold them. Let them go. And you don't have to be in your 50s or 60s or 70s. Maybe it's now. Maybe you're in a relationship, or maybe you're doing a business deal, or maybe you're working for a law firm, or maybe you're engaged, you have a boyfriend or girlfriend. You're like, you know, it's not working out. And you have to have the guts. You got to have that courage. You got to have that gravitas to just say, you know what? I'm done. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to fold them and I'm going to go and I'm going to rebuild or I'm going to revamp, whatever you want to call it. I think this is critical for everybody. Now, I've heard one of my own family members say, you know, I can't wait till I can retire. And they're like, they're saying it's like 22 or 23. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's great. Maybe you patent something and you make billions of dollars. Okay. And you're not necessarily retired. You're just doing other things, maybe volunteer work, philanthropy, whatever it is, but you're doing some activity. It doesn't matter what you do. You just got to do something. But again, going back to, do you know what you want? Do you know what you really want? I go through this. Some days I really think I know what I really want. And then a couple days later, I'm like, man, maybe I'm not so sure. Sometimes it's a hard thing to pin down. But what I am sure that I want is I do want an exit plan from the legal matrix. And I want to have the courage to fold them when it's just time to go. It's just time to go. And I thought about this as I was at an event over this weekend. It was like a casino night for charity for kids in foster care. And sitting there at the blackjack table and then playing this other thing, I forget, it's like a poker, I forget, some sort of Texas poker thing, whatever they call it. Anyway, Texas blind, I don't know. You got all you gamblers would know out there. But I thought, you know what? Everything's a risk. You're gambling. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to fold. I'm not going to play this hand. I'm done. I'm going to minimize the risk and I'm just going to get up and walk away. Now, I wasn't playing with real money because it was a charity night and it was just chips. But if it had been real money, yeah, then you're putting some real skin in the game. But the point I'm bringing home here is it just made me think about my exit plan and when to fold and when just to walk away. You got to know. You have to know when to walk away. A man or woman has to know his or her limitations at some point. And there's no shame, again, in saying, I'm just done. It's called self-preservation. It's called being smart. It's called being truthful. You got to be truthful with yourself. Where you at? I mean, I got to do this. Right now I'm going through this process too. I'm not telling you to do or think something that I'm not doing myself right now. So again, where in your world right now in the domains of body, of being, of balance, and business do you need to fold them and just have an exit plan and walk on out? Maybe for some of you, it might be like the night from your spouse, your boyfriend, or your girlfriend. I don't know. Depends on where you are. So think about that better question. Really ask yourself, write it down, and just go through the 4 domains. Again, where do I need to just when do I need to just fold them? And what's my exit plan? And when do I need to say goodbye to that person, that organization, whatever it is? Think about that. Okay, this has been another exciting episode of Escape the Legal Matrix with yours truly, Bryce D. Nyer, coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, where every day men and women do what? They don the uniform and do what? They wage war against who? Our enemies that would do what? Seek to take the freedoms away from us that we so often take for granted. This is Bryce, and I am out of here.